Good day, friends! We are already halfway there. In our previous videos, we've talked about players' initial steps in 2013-2014, followed by relatively stable times in the game during 2015-2016. Let's dive in this time without further ado. This is Farm Skins. Enjoy watching. Fast forward to 2017 and there are already a lot of difference. First off, the meta SMG now is the UMP. The UMP is simply tearing it up. Truth be told, it was overpowered even before this year. It's just that teams started noticing it this year. The main highlight of then UMP was its headshot kill potential at a range of 1000 units. To put into perspective, that's 2.5 times farther than it is now. At the same range with the second armor, the UMP would kill with a headshot plus body shot, which is why Astralis actively started using it. Speaking of Astralis, many remember their golden lineup that dominated Nuke. Well, the reworked Nuke would replace Dust 2 before the Major. A separate mention is due for this map. Previously, Nuke was even tougher than it is now. Playing a force buy with pistols as T's was nearly impossible, due to the far distances and the numerous potential spots for the opponents that would just blow your mind. But Nuke was very warmly received for this and gained a lot of popularity in both the professional scene and regular matchmaking. Economic standardization emerges. The first rounds are played with the pistol, force buy, eco. In the rest of the buy rounds, both M4s are present. For instance, Astralis would buy 4 M4s and a silencer. Tech9 is still incredibly strong. Virtus Pro, for instance, uses it in force buys. After the Major, Valve will release an update that would slightly alter perception of pistols. The 5.7 is now more accurate up close and its spread has been reduced. The CZ75 had its close range damage increased and the P250 would also get a significant boost. But the most significant change was the legendary Tech9. In 2016, Valve had already tried to nerf it, reducing its clip size by 1.5 times. Now, in addition to the reduced 18-round clip, the Tech9 lost accuracy while moving. The era of force buys with it came to an end. But the void left by Tech9 wouldn't remain empty for long. The Deagle becomes the meta pistol for many years to come. 2 hits to the body or 1 to the head solve all the problems, even against opponents in armor. Naturally, the Deagle was used before as well, but its appearance now, for example, in force buys becomes dominant. Thus, 2017 became a sort of calm before the storm and probably the most stable year in Counter-Strike. Teams had already established stable setups, finalized their economic strategies, got used to the guns, and built their meta around M4s, Deagles, and other weapons. 2018-2020, the era of global updates. The beginning of 2018 was marked by a global overhaul of Nuke. The map was reworked, external passages removed, and ramps and vents reworked. After this, the frenzy around the map would die down, and only a few teams would play it as frequently as before. Gameplay became slightly simpler for attacking, and the map as a whole became more accessible and comprehensible. As expected, the demand of CZ and Deagles increased. Players could now fully unleash the potential of almost any weapon. In early 2018, the default combination of Mag 7 plus Banana Wall or Mag 7 plus Ups emerged. Previously, such experiments didn't quite catch on. M4A4 finally replaced M4A1S. Farm guns are now used same as today, surpassing Galils and FAMASs. The overpowered UMP gets trampled upon by Valve, with its fire rate reduced and headshot distance cut by 3 times. Essentially, from that point on, the UMP heads straight to the trash bin. Now, what about the macro? Teams finally start playing more cautiously, more meticulously, and they begin to fill out those slow rounds. It's important to understand that these are no longer rounds with splits or B-side rushes in the last 30 seconds. These are full-on splits and entries in 15 to 20 seconds with step-by-step position compression. Of course, there are still fast and mid-tempo rounds. The game is no longer as fast-paced and reckless as it was in the distant years of 2013-2014. In simpler terms, starting from 2018, rounds of all tempos are being played, and the game begins to take on the appearance of kind of a chess match. Towards the end of the year, Valve will decide to bring back Dust 2, which will replace Cobblestone. Farewell, Cobblestone! A significant moment, it is precisely in 2018 that Valve will open skyboxes in Mid-on Mirage, and at that time, tons of new grenades will start appearing. By the way, it's during this time that most of the smokes of the connector and short will be invented, and of course all the instant window smokes too. At the end of the year, a final rework of the CZ75 takes place. Now this pistol is no longer menacing. It is ceased to be one-shot kill to the head, and now it takes a whole 4 bullets to the body. 2019. Valve makes another interesting move. They reduced the cost of the AUG and SG by $300. For a long time, nobody bought them, but now everything changes. The AUG and SG now stand on par with AK and M4, which means their potential usage increases significantly. We will witness this at the first major of 2019. Astralis and ENCE will each bring 4 AUGs to the team. The popularity of M4 will drop to a record low of 15%. But why AUG? Is it in the scope? Does the scope really make that much of a difference? The thing is, the AUG had a high rate of fire, and its accuracy at distance, without scoping, allowed for spraying from the hip. Naturally, such changes impact the entire gameplay. Firstly, on many maps, CTs will dominate. While previously defenders had to hold their ground at medium close range, now they can retreat to the other side of the map and simply keep an eye on things through the scope. But while defense became easier, the attack could use some luck, especially on maps like Train or Nuke with long distances. And here we smoothly transition into the gameplay of those years. Due to the noticeable dominance of defense, the attack becomes cautious and thus slow. Teams will be entering the site literally in the last seconds, and the fakes will become even more common. In the entire history of CS, 2019 will be the slowest year. The Katowice Major will unfold in this pace, where we will witness everything said before in action. But after that, Valve will likely roll out the most significant update of all time. Economic changes are a separate new chapter of CS. The economy system will be altered, and the familiar lost bonus system, as we know it today, will be introduced. However, there's a catch. In the first month, as they tested this feature, the lost bonus would reset to 0 after the first victory. But by March they changed it, so that the lost bonus points are either subtracted or added depending on the round outcome. Will this change the game significantly? You bet! Now, a trailing or a losing team doesn't need to eco every 3 rounds, scrunch for money and play the entire game without full equipment. With the series of losses, it's enough to plant the bomb and a good buy is already in the bag. In a professional scene, the number of comebacks increases, and in regular games, we'll notice the diverse strategies. People now have money not only for weapons but also for grenades, different variations of force buy rounds, and a constant chance to make a comeback. It's precisely this dynamic and diversity that captivated all the spectators and players. But that's not the only economy update. AUG reverted to its old price, and this actually saved it for a while. Teams started picking them slightly less. After that, Valve didn't stop. They reduced the AUG's fire rate and hip fire accuracy. After this update, teams would take a maximum of 1 AUG per team. Furthermore, the developers increased the price of a silencer, FAMAS and Galil. If the M4A1S simply received 5 more bullets, which was quite strict, the FAMAS and Galil each saw their price increased by $200. So sometimes players could choose the FAMAS with the full set of grenades instead of the AUG. In the subsequent major in Berlin, teams began to favor a slightly different gun, the SG553. It had more recoil control difficulty, but its hipfire and scoped accuracy were much higher than the AUG. The price wasn't that higher, and it featured a scope and a one-shot headshot capability. Vitality, Astralis, Navi, and many others embraced it. This madness continued for a year, if not more. By the way, it's precisely in 2019, before the final major, that Valve will release an update introducing Vertigo. The map will undergo numerous reworks, but it will never truly win the heart of players. And it will replace Cache, which also wasn't particularly popular. Also, at the end of 2019, Valve introduces new agent models along with Shattered Web Operation. However, among the players, there's an unwritten rule not to use non-standard agent models. Players themselves have talked about this on their streams. Also, in many online tournaments, such agents are essentially banned, and the initial versions of models on many maps blended too much with the surroundings. In January 2020, Valve releases an update that kills AUG and SG. But alongside such a nerf, Valve makes one of the most important changes for CT. The cost of M4A1S is reduced to 2900. This update significantly boosts the popularity of the Silence M4, and just like in 2017, it starts competing freely with M4A4. From this point, the game on both sides changes a bit. Aggressive entries for the attackers return, and the CT side will again often take close positions. But it cannot be said that the AUG and SG left no trace in history. It's precisely after this mini era that many long-range positions became popular, and players more frequently played from the retake positions. At the same time, Valve updated Mirage and Dust. A bench was added in mid on Mirage. They also opened skyboxes above the B apartments on Dust. The B side became open for diverse strategies, and many interesting ways to approach the point emerged. The bench on Mirage made it easier to kill players in mid, provided the opportunity to jump into the window without a teammate's help, clear short, and so on. In short, another upgrade to the dynamics. More grenades appear and even more diverse plays emerge. With each passing day, the attack becomes more versatile. And that super slow and suffocating game begins to regain sharpness and dynamics. The 2018-2020 period can truly be called pivotal. Overhauls of many maps, the map pool, weapon balancing, economic changes, comebacks by teams become much more frequent. The arsenal of strategies, smokes, and kills is greatly enriched. Absolutely all types of rounds are played much more often, and the game itself more and more takes on the familiar form we know. Friends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and leave the comment. It will definitely help us out. In return, we will continue to provide you with interesting content. That's what we do. This is Farmskins. Until next time, friends.